Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Selena, and this is the You Plus Happy podcast. Each week, I bring you someone who challenges us to define success and happiness on our own terms with a dose of laughter. Remember to subscribe to the You Plus Happy podcast on YouTube and stay up to date for new episodes. And follow us on Instagram at You Plus Happy. This week, I have Joseph of the ATL Late Night Show. He's a host and creator. I know he does more. We'll get into it. But that's all he told me. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I feel pressure now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you say I gotta be funny.
No. I
didn't have material.
I'll try to be funny. For one, I'm not a comic, but I try.
Let's do it. Let's try
it. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And so we just jump right in. How did you get started?
Well, I started in journalism. I originally started working for. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Off the Porch interviews. The guy that runs that company, he used to be a writer for the Source magazine.
Okay.
He and another writer used to write for the Source. I interned for them, and I did editorials, album reviews, and then what happened was somebody was supposed to do an interview, and they ended up having a situation they needed someone to fill in because the time slot was already given, and they kind of fell into me, and that's ever since then I've been doing interviews.
Okay. We got a real part. Okay. First of all, I'm a real journalist here. Now I feel pressure to be a real interviewer. I've never studied this subject other than like my own studying. And a lot of podcasters, do you consider yourself a podcaster?
No.
So what do you consider your show?
Well, I look at it as a long form talk show. Okay. And I liken it to Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Arsenio in that fashion, and I'm consistently adding pieces to it as I evolve with it.
Okay. So you're a real host. You're not doing what the rest of us are doing. Well, I'm glad I get to talk to you. I never talked to a real host. No offense to myself and all the other podcasters.
No, don't feel like that. There's no pressure. It's just a slight deviation. That's all.
Yeah. Wait, so when you went to school for journalism, did you know you would be hosting a show? Was that the long-term goal?
I went to school for psychology.
That was my first. My first major. I had a lot of majors.
Oh, you jumped around a little bit too.
Yes.
So it was like most things, people go to school for one thing and then you end up working in somewhere else. I was actually trying to get on as a songwriter.
Oh wow!
And that's how I became cool with the guys from the Source magazine. And I started doing an internship based on I saw a need, they needed help, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna get my door in, I'm gonna foot in the door somehow.
Yeah.
And what I quickly realized after I did so many different pieces, it was nobody really reads. They get the headlines of the story, and then you get into the whole bag of, okay, well, what else was said? And now it got to the point like it started evolving to on-camera interviews, and you can give more in depth. You can get more in depth with the conversation, and that's why I love it.
Yeah. How'd you meet the people from the Source?
Mentors. One guy went to school with one guy. Other guy, it's the most random thing. He was friends with my cousin in high school.
Okay.
And it really just was a situation where it's like, oh, let me tell you how it happened. I used to work for a nonprofit organization called Campaign Against Violence in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And Biko Baker was the leader of that. And I started working with them too.
Okay. So you write songs too?
Yeah, I retired.
You retired? Okay.
I retired.
Do you think in this business, like, is it what you know or who you know?
What you know will get you in the door. Who you know gets you in the door. What you know keeps you in the room.
Okay, quote. Write it down. So you said you went to school originally for psychology. Mm-hmm. What made you change over?
I never changed over. It was just it's a matter of going to school for one thing and then just following. I always had a passion for writing. I used to write short stories. It's kind of nerdy.
No, I write short stories too and poetry.
Yeah. Okay. So I kind of started from there. I used to write summaries of sports games. I used to work for the school newspaper, stuff like that.
Okay.
And so it was kind of natural. And I always used to watch when I played football. When we have press come to practices for the interview spots for the beginning of the season and mid-season stuff, I would just be in the moment of looking how they conducted the interviews, and I was like, I didn't answer that question right. I'm like
Wow.
critiquing my own
Yeah.
teammates, like, you gotta give more than a 1 word answer, like that type of stuff. And I'm just like, it's just a certain way of the give and take of conversing with a person.
Do you still write?
Not really. The closest thing that I would say I write is maybe monologues. Maybe monologues. The social media stuff, it entails a lot of writing, a lot of detailing, but the majority of my stuff is basically I organize research. It's more like organized brainstorms at this point.
Okay. And so, has there been in your career? Has there been a turning point where you were like, "I'm gonna do one thing, but I'm gonna change it and do this other thing"?
Going from print to video, um, I fell out of love very quickly with doing the fluff interviews that you have a tendency to do when people go to New York and LA for the press runs. They're working with their publicists. When
Mm,
they go through those situations, and you find out very quickly that you're just one of 20 people that are talking to them that day.
yeah.
And most people that are artists, they're not necessarily the most charismatic when it comes to having interviews. They're not media trained in most cases. They don't want to be there. And then everything that people want to know about, they don't want to talk about.
Right.
And that was very frustrating for me because I like to have conversations with people in based in reality.
Yeah.
And in the fluff pieces, it gets like real cookie cutter. So I felt like if I'm gonna do something my way, I'm gonna do it on my terms.
Right.
And creating my show allowed me to talk to people in long form formats, and allow myself to really ask the most off the wall questions.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I haven't done fluff interviews, but I've seen
Over
them and I've heard artists talk about them. They're like, they ask me the same question over and
and
over
over.
again. I'm
Yep.
tired. I heard a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them. I've heard some of them say they do, what was that? Not to promote drugs, but they'll do like a pill. What's the pill the college kids take for the
Perk.
ADHD?
Or are you talking about
The one that keeps you focused. It was real.
Adderall?
It was real. Yeah.
Adderall.
So I heard some of them say they take Adderall
Not
to
a drug
get
user.
through it.
Sorry.
No, we're not drug users. We do not promote. But they were using that
Steady drug.
to get through it because they felt like a puppet almost. Say the same
Mm.
thing over and over again and be like, that's not a puppet, but you know what I mean, like a
Mm.
robot. And so when I feel the same way about nobody asked me, but about interviews, it's my sneaky way because I'm a very curious person and I
Mm.
like talking to people. So it's my sneaky way that I get to talk to people and pick their brains. And then I also wanted to put out content that wasn't um, like shock jock stuff, gossipy
Mm.
stuff, and like what I don't know what other people's algorithms are doing, but mine is like, guess what this person said about this person, and I'm like, I want to see things like I call myself Oprah. I want to see like wisdom and knowledge and something
Mm.
to like um, challenge us in
Mm.
some type of way. And it sounds, I don't know if that's exactly what you're going for in your show,
It's a
but
mixture of it's a mixture of playing the game, but not compromising my integrity.
yeah. Oh, wait, so you're playing, so they're all playing the game, you're saying?
I
Not
mean, it's an
all.
element. It's an element of doing it, and I would say, I'll tell you what, Selena. I did something for a friend where I was just saying yes to all these different experiences,
Mm-hmm.
just to test myself and see if I flourish or if I fail.
Yeah.
I did a hosting of my friend did a movie, Vanity Vixens by Vinny Sokofa. Um, he had me do his red carpet, doing interviews on the red carpet. I was so out of my element.
Mm-hmm.
I was sweating profusely. I like to research and understand who I'm speaking with. I'm having 20, 30 people come to me at one time. And that's the epitome of a fluff interview. Hey, how you doing? And then you look nice tonight. What are you wearing? And everything like that. And it's just like, I felt like I needed Adderall at that point. It's like I needed to put myself in a position where I just felt comfortable saying the same thing over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really not my element.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't feel authentic. It feels almost like I haven't done that and I'm not interested in it. But it feels like I don't know. I wanted to do the podcast like in this really authentic way because it feels authentic, it's organic, like we
Mm-hmm.
were talking. That just feels like I'm selling out almost. No offense to that
I
genre.
would say it's a different skill set.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
different skill set because I've seen people do it and it looks effortless.
Mm-hmm.
And when people make things look that effortless, everyone thinks they can do it, and
Yeah.
it's not that easy.
Yeah.
I gain a whole new respect for people that work the red carpets, whether it's Access Hollywood, Entertainment Tonight, or the mom and pop blog that you don't know of.
Yeah. Do they give you questions to ask?
Um, some people, if they have managers, publicists, they'll try to feed you a little information. Make sure you mention this, work this in. They got this dropping on this date. They feed you a little things like that. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's all right. You just come in, be nice. Don't talk. Don't take all my time.
Right, right. That's yeah. Even when you said people who are good at what they do make it look easy. Because I
Mm-hmm.
was even trying to make a TikTok video yesterday. I watched a couple, and I was like,
Oh,
I
you
can
get
do
the
that.
dances?
No, I knew I couldn't do that. But it's just talking about a journey that I'm on, and I started. I was like, I'm bored, and nobody's even like, I'm boring myself.
It's all the edits. You got to do the edits, and
Yeah.
then you got to add the dramatic music in there. It makes it real inspiration. Something about that violin, you crank it up, it just makes it go.
You're right. I needed the music, the lighting, the
Yeah.
vibes. Yeah, just me talking. I was like, I'm not.
Stand up, weak in the knees. Sign off, Selena.
I was like, yeah, I can't post this. What have been the challenges on your journey?
Um, Shifting from one-on-one interviews to group interviews,
Mm,
doing it in a studio versus in front of an audience. All these different factors modify how people behave when
mm,
you start rolling.
mm,
Um, when you're in a closed situation doing something that's pre-recorded, people have a tendency to be a little bit more open. I try my best to make people feel comfortable, but it's not a tried and true method that works for every single person.
right.
You just try to show up as a human being, allow them to be themselves. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
What are the tips and tricks to make people feel comfortable?
Tips and tricks to make people feel comfortable. Understanding what you're good at naturally as far as your skill set in your the way you show up in conversations. Uh, People have a tendency to think I'm funny at times. Other people might think I'm corny, but having the ability to risk saying something and be a little quirky at times, that works
Mm,
to my advantage. For me, for other people, if you have a natural ability to allow people to feel less guarded with their emotions,
yeah,
that wall will just come down and then they'll just connect with you. But it's all about understanding yourself, what you're good at, what you're not good at, and just try to hone and read the room. You read the person as best you can.
yeah. Um, I also think I'm funny, but it's just corny. And sometimes I think people are laughing to make me not feel embarrassed. But I'll take it. But I'll
You're
take
cool.
it. I'll take it. Another thing that I didn't think about was like, because I get nervous during interviews. I still get nervous, but I didn't realize the guests could be nervous as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like bringing down that wall and making them feel comfortable. So I have to, pretend that I'm not nervous, and then
It's the best way I could point it out is some days you have good games, you have bad games. You just try to show up. I'll just say show up consistently as yourself,
yeah.
and you don't have to fake it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
What's the I know you said one of the differences between filming in front of a group of people versus
Or
one
the
on
studio.
yeah. What is it like in front of a lot of people?
um what I've encountered, I'll give you an example. I had this rapper on. His manager reached out to me. He wanted me to do his interview. I won't say his name because he got a little personal. I had to edit some stuff out. But he came over, um, double cup, probably was on the pill. On top of that, and I've done, I'm digging in through his music and all his different articles and stuff like that, and we end up having a real dope conversation, and I totally didn't expect it. Um, and we end up talking about his son. He had a son that passed away,
Mm,
and it was like, oh, and it's just like you went from being funny, I'm trying to get him to loosen up, and then when we got to talking about his son and what he felt going through that, and then actively seeing him try to cope with the feelings of what came from that situation, it made it easier to kind of have the conversation. I don't think that conversation happens with a live studio audience.
mm,
Some people open up and they feed off the energy of everyone in the room, and then
yeah,
some people they'd rather have the conversation one on one.
yeah. does feel different because
Mm-hmm.
I've done interviews with like 20 people in the room,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I do prefer one on one.
Yeah.
I do, because there's less pressure and nobody's putting on a show. Like, I know a lot of people are going to see this, but in that moment, it doesn't feel like that. It just feels like it's just,
Like you're at home.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course I'm gonna open up if I feel at home.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's just a better conversation. And like I said, or it's a more insight into a person
Mm-hmm.
instead of like, not, we're all wearing the mask. I can see your mask anywhere, right? But I want you to come here and not have to wear, or wear a different one, or this is a different part that you didn't show somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that comes off easier in a one-on-one situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. Which one do you prefer?
The challenge. I prefer the challenge. Sometimes that could be one on one. Sometimes that could be an audience. It really is really coming rising to the occasion and understanding what's happening at the moment. Because some people are a ball of energy by yourself,
Yeah.
by themselves. Some people are gonna challenge you in front of an audience, and you gotta rein it back in. I'm
Mm.
for the challenge.
Mm.
I enjoy consistently making myself uncomfortable and being comfortable being uncomfortable.
Okay.
It's I'm really feeling it right before I start, but as we're doing it, it's like, all right, we're here now. We out in the ocean. I know
Yeah.
where I'm going. I did my work. Just be in the moment.
I love that. People talk about be comfortable being uncomfortable, but you're practicing it. Like, the
Sometimes,
kind
yeah.
of, it looks like you're looking for ways to make yourself as uncomfortable as possible on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, it's like a muscle that you're constantly working.
It's it's some days are better than others. I've had multiple times where I've run into absolute dumpster fires. And sometimes it's my fault, sometimes it's the venue, sometimes it's a technical issue. You never know.
Yeah.
The thing about doing pre-recorded interviews, you can fix it.
Mm-hmm.
You can just go back and edit all the stuff out. But when you're doing stuff in front of people, it's like, listen, he ain't that funny. Get to it. Get to it. I thought I was gonna talk to you too.
Wait.
When can I perform? Like that's what I'm dealing with at times. And when you think sometimes, well, we're in Atlanta, so most people that show up to places, they think they're the star more so than people that they're coming to see.
Mm.
So you kind of got to work the different egos in the room too.
Ugh. Okay. That's some stuff I haven't had to deal with yet.
It
So I'm lucky.
you got it. Well, no success comes without making other people unhappy.
Right, right, right. I like, yeah. That's another quote, y'all.
I'm up to two. I got
uh,
writers.
have you fumbled? You got writers. Have you fumbled, or like, because I've stepped over my words, I've lost my train of thought in interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's so many. I can't even count how many times I stop. The thing is, if you are always worried about making mistakes, you're gonna make more.
Mm.
And when you have the moment, just everyone's a human being. Just have the moment. Use an alternative word. Remix it, rephrase the sentence, or just take a minute to laugh at yourself, and then to regather yourself.
I love that. I'm reading a book, and just in it yesterday it said, if you're scared to public speak, you're gonna get more and more scared. Like, whatever you feel is gonna grow if you keep focusing on it. So like you just said, mistakes beget mistakes, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just keep worrying about them, then you're gonna make more.
Yep.
So don't think about them.
It's gonna
Don't
happen
focus
anyway.
on her.
They're gonna happen anyway.
Yeah, I like
Prepare.
that.
You can prepare for what can go wrong, but you can guess what's gonna happen, but you're never gonna get all 100% right.
No, no. I love that. Just doing your thing, and just know some things are gonna go left, and that's okay.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. That's a good lead in to my next question of, when did you feel like you failed?
Segues. I fail all the
Segue.
time. What do you mean? Life is failure. You can't have anything. All right. So another quote. I have different affirmations. Some that I draw from other people, different philosophers, and then sometimes I come up with my own.
Mm.
A loss is only losing to a loser. A loss to a winner is a lesson.
Wait, a loss is only a loss when you lose to a loser.
A loss is only a loss to a loser.
Ah,
A person that truly is a winner, a loss is just a lesson. What did I do wrong? What can I correct? What can I do to make this better and turn this situation that didn't work on Tuesday make it work for me on Thursday? What
Yeah.
what what did I do wrong last month that I can correct and make better next month?
Yeah.
And if you really have a defeated mentality, you're never gonna think like that. You're just gonna think about, oh, I messed up. I'm embarrassed. That's a part of life.
Hmm.
To do anything of value, you're gonna fall. How many times can you get back up?
Yeah, it's almost like what you said about the mistakes. Like if you keep thinking about mistakes, then you're gonna get more mistakes. So it's like if you keep focusing on your defeats and not focusing like on what you can do better or how you can make fix it going forward or just getting back up, you're just gonna stay defeated. Like you
Absolutely.
just stay in that space.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. You said affirmations. That's one of my words that has glitter on them in my head.
I don't have glitter in my house.
No, but no, I mean when I hear it, sparks are like affirmations. Tell me everything. Wait, so do you write yours down? Do you repeat them, or are they just in your head?
I write them down and I put them on sticky notes throughout my house. A little
Mm-hmm.
quirky, I know,
No,
but I'm also
I got that. I got
okay.
some goals in my bathroom. Go
Yeah,
ahead. Yeah.
I got a few in my bathroom. I have a few in my guest bathroom. I have a few more in my office, my home studio. I have today is a blessing. The last thing I see when I walk out the door, right above the door handle. So no matter how bad a day is, just think about somebody else didn't have a day at all.
Yeah.
Somebody, it's always a worse position, and in the moment, when you're at your lowest, it could be worse. You have nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So your practice with affirmations is just they're all around your house. You should surround yourself with them, and then they just kind of repeat themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it taps into your subconscious. I'm brushing my teeth and I'm looking at them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going back and forth through the house and I'm seeing random things. Sometimes I change them up. I put them in different places.
Yeah.
I modify some of the phrases. I have um, when I have the house studio interviews, I have my guests write something that means something to them. Some people do funny anecdotes, and some people give you something that you'll be like, that's the one. It's just a
Oh,
matter
they
of,
write you affirmations.
yeah, for themselves. What works for yourself? For instance, I had this very talented, and what I love most, not to segue too much, but what I love most about the thing about human interaction, you never know what you're going to get from a person, no matter how much preparation you have for the
Mm-hmm.
conversation. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with this mixed martial artist, and he's very adamant that you call him a mixed martial artist instead of just a fighter, because
Okay.
he's really heavy into reading philosophy. Amon Kasame. I first saw him fight a couple years back, and I've seen him fight maybe 3, 4 times since then. And when we had our conversation, he always drops these different gems of how you can just compartmentalize a situation, acts of gratitude. And I had him on with the comedian, and it was a for context. This guy, he's a black guy from a very small town in Georgia. He's sitting next to a white lady that's a comedian from New York. They both have books of gratitude. They write down 5 things that they're grateful for every morning.
Mm-hmm.
But they did it for very different reasons. And finding those little intersections between the human experience is something that's so gratifying for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, that made me think. I have a lot of thoughts, but like one of them is like, I, do you think to be successful, you have to get into a certain mental space to get to a certain level? So when he's like, he's always dropping gems. He has his affirmations. He does gratitude, and people might not be as I don't want to say rigid, but they might not have a system in place for themselves, but they're still doing those practices, even though they don't
Hmm.
consciously know it. Or like, what do you think?
Selena, that's a good question. I study a lot of people because
Mm-hmm.
I fashion myself as being kind of socially awkward.
Mm-hmm.
I have moments where I'm very loquacious, and I have other moments where I just want to sit in a room and be a fly on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I every time I look at all these different people that are successful for multiple walks of life, they always seem to have a thing that they hyper focus on that other people would call crazy. And
Mm.
like whether it's Kobe Bryant's 1% method, where it's like I'm getting 1% better each day. By the time you try to catch up to me, I've put so much work in, you can never catch up.
Mm.
And he applied that to basketball. After he left basketball, he applied it to film, so much to the point where he won an Oscar. Um, Myron Rowe, he used to be a cornerback for the in the NFL. He got flagged going into the draft for being too smart, which is something that happens with a lot of football players. Now he's a neurosurgeon. and he employs the 1% method. So the 1% method is basically get 1% better each day. If you accumulate all these good days, you have 365% better growth than you had in the previous year.
Yeah.
And it's small steps and just hyper focus in and just be consistent.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard
So
being
so the
consistent.
mindset, yes. Watching somebody is something obscure as Arnold Schwarzenegger. For him to come to a country, make a name for himself as a bodybuilder, then get into movies with a horrible accent, barely had he still has problems with certain words to the point where it's funny now, but it works for him. And the audacity to go from that and then get into politics.
Right.
That takes a lot of audacity.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say the majority of the most successful people that I've seen and studied, they have a certain level of audacity, and then they have a unshakable confidence, even when they lose.
I love that. Have the audacity. No one has said that on here on this show. And when I think about the practices and stuff, because I don't want things to feel boring or whatever. But the whole show is to like give people food for thought, right? So when you said affirmations, I like to push them, and not that you have to do them, but I like to push them and think about them and how they come and how people explore them because they are free and they work.
Yep.
and so I'm an affirmations pusher.
Okay.
But that's why I was exploring your how you do it because mine is like I haven't written down and they change. That's the other thing. They evolve over time. Well, for me, I don't know if they do that for you because sometimes I affirm them so much it already happened or it doesn't resonate like it used to.
Yeah.
So then I change it. And I do mine in the mirror sometimes. I do it over and over again. But I'm just saying it to say there's so many different approaches for the audience. There's so many different approaches. And then there are in the beginning I felt so stupid standing in the mirror saying these things to myself.
Like your TikTok video.
Yeah, but like in the mirror, no one's around, no one's gonna see this, and I'm like, I can do this. I'm like, what is going on? And then staring at yourself
get your Issa Rae on. What's that? Insecure?
Yeah.
Get in there with the rapping hands.
She was rapping. Yeah.
Get your bars off.
I be freestyling. People know, but it's a joke. It's comedic.
I like the hands, Jesse. She meant that. She meant that.
It's comedic. But yeah, but I just like exposing all the different ways you can approach affirmations or just approach that some kind of ritual or something for yourself to get your mind right. Because it's like you got to keep your mind right, right?
For me, I would say coordinated silence. Ringer off, airplane mode, no noise, sometimes sounds of the rain, sometimes the white noise in the background. Clear my mind. It could be a multitude of things, but it really just goes into getting your mind clear and then just assessing the situation. And for me, that usually means setting my emotions to the side of how something or someone has made me feel and just analyze what put me in that position. And then that's what I usually take from that moment. Like, did I learn something? Can I be better? Was it a no-win scenario? You just try to look at it with the most clear mind possible, and hopefully you get some proof from it.
Assessing, reflecting, and just and giving yourself that space and that time. Is that what you're describing?
Absolutely.
And then because I hear people say, and I could be wrong, like that they don't like. They would be uncomfortable or afraid to have everything off. I mean, no music, no TV, no social media, nothing. And
I grew up in the backwoods. I'm cool. I grew up in the backwoods. We had 2 channels.
Okay.
I'm good with silence.
No, I like silence, but I grew up in a different time where it wasn't so much pulling your attention. So, like I just saw a video about watching the raindrop and following that one raindrop when you were young.
That's a good game.
It was fun, right?
It was a good game.
And I was like, dang, everybody did it. Like, where's it going? Where's it going? But I'm pretty sure these kids, like, because of all the distractions. I don't know. I don't want to speak for children, but so I think I don't know what you just told me your background. Come from a little bit of a different time where that was a little easier to do, so you can still pull for some of it. But yeah, I think having that quiet time is so important just to get in tune with yourself, right?
Well, another thing about me, and I don't talk about this too often publicly, but I have a brother who is mentally disabled, and mentally and physically disabled. So he's my older brother, and the house that we grew up in together, socially, that made me develop differently.
Mm.
So I had to become a lot more self sufficient than most people would in their social interactions with their siblings in the household.
Mm-hmm.
With me, I learned to self soothe. I learned to entertain myself. So a lot of scenarios, I have the imagination of an only child,
Right.
even though I have an older brother
Mm-hmm.
that grew up in the same house with me.
Yeah.
So that made me look at things differently. It made me look at him differently from what I need to do to be his protector, even though he's older than me. Shield him from different positions and different types of people. And also it made me study other people, because you really see what a person thinks of another person when they don't think they can do anything for them. So children, old people usually get mistreated the most, and people like my brother, who's handicapped. If a person comes in and they treat them like trash, they're really a bad person.
Yeah.
And it really made me look at society from a different way. But also, it I guess it sparked my thought of in love of studying people, to see what people do in natural situations.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. That gave me like chills a little bit because I think about
Turn the heat on.
I never no, because it's so important of how. Anyway, I just
women always cold.
Yeah, it wasn't because of what he said. It was because of the because I never. I mean, we hear that, right? Like it's like how you treat everybody from somebody who's considered that they can't help you in society to whoever. But yeah, learning that at an early age. Anyway, my brain is going 100 miles an hour with that. But how did you self-soothe?
Imagination, like most children that don't have a sibling to battle back and forth with, it would wrestle with their thoughts. Imaginary friends. I play all the characters in the theory of my mind. That type of stuff.
I was an only child for 9 years, so I was for like
main character energy.
No, I was a little weirdo.
Okay.
But what I did, I would play on my toy box. Anyway, like you said, just a lot of imagination, making up your own friends, and that's why I think I feel a little socially awkward all the time and a little weird because you get used to hanging out with yourself and you don't have to put on anything. Yeah. And you don't have to like put on a mask. You don't have to pretend. And then you get around people, you're like,
oh, I'm weird in this group. I'm the weird one. Wow. Now I will say this. Oftentimes I feel like the weird one because I'll either say too much or not enough. And the too much usually is a thing where in societies, people that grew up in a society where they have a large family, they kind of have this thing where you kind of learn what not to say. You learn what not to do.
Right.
People establish these different boundaries, but what you can and can't do, and there's certain consequences for being too honest, consequences for not speaking up for yourself. Whereas when you're by yourself consistently, you don't have those boundaries, you don't have those limitations, you don't have that you don't necessarily always develop that chutzpah to advocate for yourself.
That's so true. Did I cut you off with
my? No, you're good.
Because I just listened to a book about boundaries, and I was like, "Oh, I don't have any boundaries," and that's been my problem my whole life. But I just got it because when I was hanging out by myself with all my friends, these people I made up, or my stuffed animals, I tell everybody what they're doing. Every character, like there's no boundaries, but and that actually I think can be a wonderful thing in play and an imagination. But then when you don't know how to turn that off in society, it could be a problem.
It could be the fun friend, or it could be like, crazy ass Selena.
I'm both. When you ask, that's so funny.
That's me too. The crazy ass Joseph.
I saw somebody from high school not that long ago, and they were like, "Yo, you used to say the craziest shit in school." I was like, "I did. I don't remember." But because with that no filter and the no boundaries, and then on top of that, I have
you just learn to talk freely. That's it.
Yeah, but
most people. That's the thing too. That's the part about, I guess, our experience of having that development. Other people don't get that, and they have a hard time being honest.
Oh,
so it cuts both ways. I say what I mean. I
No,
stand
I
on
don't. I
business.
didn't, but I don't want to. Sometimes it goes too far.
Yeah.
And then I also have a dark sense of humor, which I didn't
Okay.
know was dark until I went into the world. And I was like,
Really?
oh, you can't say stuff that dark. Oh, you really got to reel this in
What you say?
because I,
Ooh,
I,
she
I,
felt. Ooh, she felt funny.
I can't repeat the thing. Oh no, it goes very dark. But but it's also like, how do you want to because you have to think about who you want to be. Then it goes into like, well, who do I want to be in the world? How do I
Mhm.
navigate the world? And I do want certain things from the world. So
Yeah.
what do I have to bring to make, it's an exchange. And
Yeah.
so it's like, I know some people are like, well, I want to be myself. Well, but what are you going to lose, or what rooms can you not go into by being yourself or whatever? If you don't know how to like have the
That's a lot of self
poise.
awareness to have that conversation with yourself.
Yes.
Because
And
if you have the wherewithal to have the conversation with yourself, you can kind of beat other people to the punch
that's true.
of cutting you off, or putting you, or putting the rope up where you can't get in here because you're too weird or you're
Yeah.
too much yourself.
Yeah. No, for
But you don't
real.
want to necessarily modify yourself to the point where you're a shell of yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a way of like, put on your voice. I need to talk to a manager.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I think I got lucky with some folks who I trusted who called me out, and they said explicitly, you need to work on your poise. And I had never thought about that because I
Mm,
was just, but I embraced the silly,
yeah.
But it's like no, but sometimes it needs to
You used to
be
get rattled easily or something, or
no, no.
I'm sorry, I'm doing the interview
No, 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 no.
myself.
It's a conversation.
Mm.
But being just too excited and too loud or too
That sucks, doesn't it? 'Cause, like, you want to laugh, like I'm gonna laugh the way I laugh, right?
yeah, well, that part I don't take in. I'm gonna laugh
Yeah.
the way I want to laugh. But the
Mm.
poise of like knowing when to be quiet, when to pay attention, when to let somebody else talk, and not overtaking the conversation,
Mm.
or just read the room. Like
Yeah.
some rooms don't call for certain things, like,
Right.
and just navigate it in a way that works for everyone. And so it's not suppressing, but it's more of just okay, peeping what's going on and going with that flow, and
Mm.
like get, bring your own vibe, but also feel the vibes around
Yeah.
you. Does that make sense?
Mm. It's a hit or miss. I know I have more hits than misses when it comes to putting vibes together with different groups of people. And
Uh-huh.
and one thing that I integrated into my show, it started off doing I started off doing one-on-ones, right?
Okay.
And then it went to, okay, I know a lot of interesting people. Let me start mixing different people in a room. And I don't like to facilitate arguments. I like to facilitate conversations, and people have conversations in which they don't always agree.
Mm-hmm.
But what I find is putting people in a room together, aside from a few different personalities that are rather obnoxious, um, most people are more respectful when they're sitting next to the person and they get that real time disagreement.
Mm.
There's an open dialogue that happens there, and then also there's finding a way to kind of not necessarily deflect, because social media interaction would turn into a moment in which you said something, I don't know how to take it, so I took it as offense, so I'm going to block you. Or you'll find people cussing each other out like they would in traffic situations.
Yeah.
But you put those same people in person, have the same topic where they disagree, they will hear the other person out. They may not change their mind,
Right.
but they'll hear the other person out.
That's so fascinating. Um, that's a lot to explore. I wonder why we act like that in cars and on social media, but then when we're around each other, we're so much more respectful typically. When you said that you've mixed a lot of different personalities and you studied people in a sense, growing up, and what does that is there one thing that you've seen that people have in common?
A few things.
Really?
I've noticed I call it women like to share their laughter.
Okay.
When women are trying to connect with someone, or they already have a connection with, like, say if you were here with your friend,
Uh-huh.
instead of me being socially awkward and used to being by myself, I would laugh and just like share my laughter with myself. Women will make eye contact with the person next to them and laugh.
Okay.
It's everything that I've noticed, like, that is very sounding very showcasing how different I am in my idiosyncrasies, I guess. But everything is real subtle. Um,
Okay.
the way men talk with other men, the way women other talk, and their voices go to another octave with women in the room only. And then you have different alpha personalities in a room versus people that need the people that need the attention, and some people that want the attention but they don't necessarily need the attention. There's a big difference with that.
What are some of this? What does that look like?
Need attention versus want the
Yeah.
attention. Want the attention might come in over the top, and like maybe you might peacock a little more. You may do it with your personality, you may do it with the way you dress. Whereas a person that needs the attention, they won't let anybody else talk because they need to focus on them. And anytime the focus is taken off of them, they're going to hijack the conversation or they're going to start pouting.
Those are the people that are you end up not wanting around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But the peacockers, we're fine. What was the other thing you were going to say before I cut you off that people have in common?
Oh, in common? Off the top of my head, I those things right there.
Those are the main things.
Yeah, the personality traits, sharing happiness and laughter, natural selection, a lot of things that are not necessarily new, but it's one thing to know of something and then see it employed in real time. Like say natural selection, right? Or you're we're in a room full of white people and you're the only black person in a room. Then you notice one black person in the corner. You don't know this person, but you feel more comfortable to go, so you find yourself sitting close to that person. Same thing if you would go into a room, there's nothing but men in the room. You find this one lady, and you probably wouldn't sit next to this white lady or Asian lady or whatever she is in any other scenario of this majority black room. But you find sisterhood in that situation, so it makes you feel more calm and present. So you go sit next to that person that makes you feel comfortable.
Looking for the commonalities.
Yep.
Because it's survival. Okay. The last thing I'm gonna say about this peacock person, because I'm very intrigued. I feel like I like the peacock character because they're not harmful, right? But the person who needs the attention, should you be concerned? Should you be worried? Because more than just annoying, is this person, when I say they need attention, are they willing to do things that are goes against people's like morals and values to get it? Because when you need something, so those are scary folks.
What I also find with those type of personalities, they are usually the most fragile in the room too, from an ego standpoint.
Okay.
It's like a person that's they're walking a tightrope, and one swift wind the other way, either way, will knock them off that balance.
Because too much of their external environment is controlling them.
Well, they're seeking constant validation and need constant validation, and then look at me is really shows up at internally. If you can get a microphone into their brain, it would say, "Please notice me."
They need validation.
But outside, it sounds like I'm the baddest bitch in the room, or I'm that dude. I make this amount of money. I do this. They name drop.
Like somebody who's being loud and or just pulling the information, like you said, just pulling the attention back to themselves in any way possible. Should you be? Do you think that type of person is trustworthy?
As much as any other human being.
Okay, so you don't think they have a lenience towards? I don't know why this is so intriguing.
From an ethical standpoint,
yeah.
Every person has their moment. I mean, somebody might embarrass you in public because they need to be seen as the leader of the group in that moment. But in private, they could be a very good confidant. They could be very good with dealing with emotional stress as far as like how they show up for you or you show up for them. They could help you with favors. They can be a very good friend, but it's like that person that you don't like on road trips or a vacation because they don't get around certain people. They don't know how to act. It's just everybody's a human being. You got to learn different people in different elements.
I like that response and reminder because I'm in my brain because I'm being black and white right now. It's like, well, if this person did this, then you should cut them off. But no, it's like, okay, everybody is layered. Everyone is well-rounded. So they do have this person may have this aspect of themselves. But if you feel so inclined or whatever, you just pay attention and see what other characteristics they have, and they may be great. It's just that in this area, they just need all the attention. But maybe we don't want to go on a road trip with this person, but this person I can call for advice about something because they're really, really good in this area. That's what comes with not writing someone off too soon and not being judgmental and sticking around and being
people you got blocked.
Or because I function in black and white sometimes.
What you said? What you say?
Well, they were doing something I really didn't like, so I blocked them. That's a good observation because my block thing is going to be full at some point because it's a lot of.
I didn't know it got full. Damn, how
Well, I
many
heard
got?
on Instagram it can get. Oh, I heard on
Damn.
Instagram it can get full. I don't know.
I didn't know.
I don't interact enough with people on Instagram to know I should, but and on my phone, a lot of people are blocked. I just don't. So, but I'm saying, so what I'm hearing is there's some nuances.
Do you delete the text thread and then block them?
Yeah. Why? Why is that funny?
No, you're funny. It's funny. It's funny. No, it's funny because the best thing that I enjoy about listening to different people is how they deal with conflict or the moment you say something I don't like.
Yeah.
And not saying you're not valid in blocking people because I don't know what they did.
Right.
But hearing women talk about they'll delete the thread and then block the person. So when that random text comes back or they try to unblock a number, they don't know who they're talking to.
Yeah, yeah. Most of mine,
guys do that too, just so you know.
Most of mine are valid, I would say. I've gotten better. I give people a little bit more grace, but that's come with years of work. Years of work. Because anyway, that's a whole.
That's because your stuffed animals never told you no.
I don't have no boundaries and I don't understand things, but no, that's true. I gotta blame my stuffed animals. It's not me, but no, son. Anyway, that's another conversation. What's been your biggest motivation?
I'm trying not to give you the most cliche answer. The biggest motivation for me has always been the challenge of showing up for myself like I've shown up for other people.
Just drop the mic, y'all. No, for real. I was talking about that with one of my friends. Did I cut you off?
No, you
go. She was like, if I tell somebody I'm going to meet them on Saturday at 4, I meet them on Saturday at 4. Mm-hmm. If I tell myself I'm going to do this thing that's only for me at 4, I'll be like, oh, I'll blow it off, or I might do it at 5. I might never get around to it. But and then you stop trusting yourself. Like if you keep reneging on your plans over and over and over again with yourself, then it's like you kind of expect that from yourself. It's almost like what you said earlier, like mistakes beget mistakes. That's not your words. I said that, but it was from what you
we
said.
Know what you meant.
So showing up for yourself is your biggest motivation, to not let yourself down.
Biggest challenge is kind of like what I've noticed about myself. I work best traditionally in my life. I've worked best when I'm working in conjunction to adding to a team. My name is Joseph. My name means to add to. So any situation I'm entering, a relationship, a friendship, a business situation, I feel like I need to add to the situation where I haven't provided any value to verify my need to be here.
Yeah.
So in sports, I enjoyed that because a person that's not valuable in most places in a team setting, like say for instance, I'm gonna be a bit primitive Neanderthal right now, but football. This skinny guy that runs very fast, but he's not very strong, is not very valuable in this position right here. But if you put him out there, he's very valuable. And this big guy that's slow, but he's very strong and he's kind of quick, you put him in this position, he's very valuable. You put him out there, he's worth nothing. In a family structure, people I found that have family structures or come from a lot of siblings, if they come from a large family, they see value in different people. They have a structure because you understand you might have to show up for someone else. They may have to show up for you. You may have to share a little bit more. Whereas if you're by yourself or like you're in a sport that makes you isolate yourself, it's all about you and everything is all about you. Like say like a tennis player or golf. It's only about you. And some people act like that in their everyday lives.
Yeah.
They don't understand anything that doesn't make them happy. So what my situation is I have to understand how to show up for myself the way I would do and go hard for my family members or my teammates or my friends.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that approach. It sounds like you're motivated and you operate the best with accountability. Because, and I would say I'm similar. What you would say?
Oh, I'm just agreeing.
Because so there, as a creative, I don't know if you go through this, but there's so many things I want to try, so many things I want to do, and I try for a little bit, and then I'm like, oh, whatever, and then I go move on to the other thing. But the podcast, I feel like people waiting for me. So I gotta show it. Ain't nobody waiting for me. But I'm like,
why you make it sound like a mixtape? Oh, they waiting on this record.
I told y'all we freestyling.
Okay.
But it's comedic.
But anyway, I knew the rapper hands were there.
I'm from Baltimore. I don't know. But
oh, you don't even say T.
I have worked it out, but give me a few drinks.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, it comes out.
Oh yes.
Okay.
But that's what, and that's that. So anyway, we know why this show is here, to help, to inspire. But one of those things is like learning how you work, right? And learning what motivates you. And I know for me, if I don't, I need something external to motivate me. It doesn't have to be a person, but I have to play tricks on my brain of like, why am I going to do this? How am I going to show up or whatever? So the trick that I play with the podcast is, people are waiting for this. People need this show. People need this. They need me. And so that's what keeps me going on it. I didn't, nobody asked me that, but I was just, nobody. Well, you know what keeps me going? But I was thinking like,
oh, that was great.
No,
that was awesome.
Thank you for laughing at my ridiculousness.
I'm laughing with you. I'm laughing with you. It's different.
But okay, fair. But I said that to say, to tie it in. It's not exactly what you just said, but it is there's an accountability factor that we are using to keep ourselves going and to motivate ourselves. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, that works. Yay! Okay.
We did it.
We did it. We got to where I was trying to go. All right. All right. I gotta wrap us up soon because we're running up on our hour, I believe. So I have 2 questions. How much time we have? Okay, I got 3 questions.
Okay. I won't be long-winded.
Do you have a tight hour?
No.
Okay. I want to ask them. What is something you hope people say about you when you're not in the room?
He's consistent. He's the same way in public the way he is in privately.
Okay. Why? Just for your reputation?
No, I like to be consistent. I mean, I hold myself to a certain standard. I often, when I'm on the phone with my friends, they get mad at me sometimes because they like, just say it. I'm like, I try to talk about, especially when I'm talking about other people, I try to say things that I would be comfortable saying if they were watching me right now.
Yeah.
So I don't have to modify what I said in their presence.
How did you, it seems like you have a lot of integrity. This is what I'm getting today. How did you get to that level?
Watching my brother, watching how people would take advantage of someone like him. Same way you would, if you saw someone would be mean or callous to an elderly person or a child. Seeing my brother be mistreated and taken advantage of, it puts me in a position where, like, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah. Okay. You know, we all, like they say, the angel and the devil on our shoulders. What is your devil doing?
He has a lot more to say than I say. But I'm gonna say what I'm going to say. I just don't say it the way I got a very strong filter. The thing that happens to me, I pause a lot when I'm taking time to articulate my thoughts and gather how I'm going to put it together.
Yeah,
and I'm really fighting. Hey, bro, I can't say all that.
No, that's good.
And I still manage to say crazy stuff.
No, listen, I just got a filter.
Okay, because I had people say like, "Damn, you really said that?" I'm like, I ran that through the filter. That was the edited version. That's like, I had 5 rough drafts like before I got to that point. But like, if that made you mad, hope you don't find my trash bin.
I swear, like, don't find my hard drive because I gave
That's
you
where the body's at.
I gave you the edited, the polished, clean version.
Yeah, the nice veneer and everything.
Yes.
Like sometimes I do a corporate sandwich, come in with the compliments, say what I really want to say, then end with a compliment, I get out my face.
Yeah.
And that's me trying to be nice about it.
Yeah. No, that really, okay. Because if people only knew the things going on in here that I don't say.
Yeah.
No, I love that. The whole show is about success. And I say this all the time, the audience know, but I got one of the reasons we started the show was a lot of reasons, but one of them is that we were frustrated because I started with the co-host, but we were frustrated with this chasing material. This car is going to make you happy. This is going to make you happy. This is what success is. And if you don't have it, you're not successful. And we wanted to challenge that. And so that's why my question, that's the whole reason I interview people. What's your definition of success?
Waking up being comfortable, The most complete thing to me in a day is I learn something, I do something physically. In the way the world is now, make some money. But if we go back to like Neanderthals and hunter gatherer days, that could be something as simple as I fed the village, I killed something and brought food back to the village,
Right.
or I protected my village. Um, and spiritually, is did I connect with the world? Did I connect with God? Did I pray today? Did I have a very open, honest conversation with myself? And of course, we don't check all those boxes every single day.
Right.
But if I find that I'm hitting those boxes, checking those boxes more so than not throughout the course of the week, that's a good life.
Yeah, I love that. This year I came up. Everyone's heard it, but my 80-20 rule of like, because I was being too hard on myself, like, oh, well, if I don't do something 100% of the time, then I failed and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, as long as I do the things I said I was going to do 80% of the time. So like, long as I work out 80% of the time, long as I eat right 80% of the time, you know. So I like what you said. You're giving yourself grace of like, I don't do every single
Oh,
thing
I tear
every single
myself up. I
day.
sound nice right now, but I tear
So
myself up.
that was the filter
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
but I like that though of 'cause I think if we put too much pressure on ourselves and then we mess up, so then we just start beating ourselves up, and then we just feel like we fell off the wagon. That's how I feel sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was like, nah, Selena, we gotta figure something else out, because we're not gonna keep beating Selena's not gonna keep beating Selena up. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do 80-20 this. And so I like the
That's
grace
fair.
that you're apparently you're not giving yourself grace, you said.
I give it. I look here and there. I try to be nice with it.
Okay.
It depends on your energy.
Yeah.
It changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Listeners, you're not going to do 100% of the things 100% of the time. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. My last question before I wrap this up. I have a lot of other questions, but I want to be respectful to everyone's time. What piece of advice would you give to listeners who may want to follow in your footsteps?
Hey, you want to follow
not
me?
not his footsteps, but have a show.
Same. I echo what I said earlier. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Recognize what you're good at naturally. Me, I have a personality that makes people tend to be a little bit more warm and open with me than others. I can't say I can replicate that in every single person if I had to coach them to do the same thing.
Right.
But I can try to recognize the talent that I have, even if I don't necessarily understand it, and then also understand what I'm weak at. I can't sing, I can't dance, so I'm not gonna start my show with a dance. I'm not gonna try to do Wheel of Impressions like Jimmy Fallon. And just understanding what you're good at, understand what you can improve in, and work for what you can.
I love that. Okay. Can I say one thing
Let's go.
in response?
It's your show.
Response.
It's your show.
I don't want to be one of those people like, and also, but I was thinking also try a lot of things, right? Because sometimes you want to do stuff and then you go.
That goes back to the failure I was talking about. If you're afraid to fail, you're never going to succeed.
Yeah. And then you might try something, you look cool, and you try it, you're like, I don't even like this. Or you could be surprisingly good at things you didn't think you would be good at. So I think that's why it's important to like.
You play harmonica, don't you?
I wish. Do I seem like a harmonica player?
No, I'm just throwing something random out there.
Oh, okay. I like that idea. Where has the harmonica gone? Anyway, it's another conversation. You don't sing it anymore. Come on, Stevie.
Watch Cadillac Records and you'll be inspired.
Yes. Okay. And harmonicas are cheap.
They were until he blew up with the song. What was the song? My Bad. Yeah. I'm random. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I like that. But because I was putting myself in a box of like, oh, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm good. This is what I'm good at, and that's all I'm going to do. And it's like, no, just explore. I mean, take what you want from it, but explore more things and just figure out what you could be good at more than one thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you won't know unless you go try.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go try things. That's the whole point of it.
Do the things.
Just go do
the stuff.
Just go do it. That's what I want. That's my dream for everyone listening. Is just go do the things. Maybe
I'm around a unicycle if you play harmonica.
Oh, what? today.
Challenge.
I'm in.
I got to get a good seat now. I feel like I committed to it. But go ahead.
I'm sorry. To the tricycle. All right. Do you have anything else?
No, just if look for my big head online at ATL Late Night Show. You'll see my big head. I'm pretty sure you're gonna find someone talking and saying something that either intrigues you or upsets you. Hopefully, nothing in between.
I love that. I want to
and thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you for being here. And I do want to have you back on the show because I feel like we only scratched the surface. I know you do more stuff. Pressure. I have more questions, but we will wrap up. Again, thank you.
I'm sorry. I've been practicing my Abbott Elementary. The head turned to the camera.
Oh, can I do it?
Go ahead.
All right, wait. Is it a reaction to something?
Yeah, it's like, did y'all just see that?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Side eye. Yeah.
My next TikTok video: how to do side eye.
Right.
Is that what we're doing?
Tutorials.
Tutorials.
They win.
Selena.
They win.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you for having me.
For sharing your time with me and inspiring listeners to redefine success for themselves. You can find out more about Joseph on, I know you just said it, but again,
ATL Late Night Show.
Go follow him, watch it, support. We need it. That was aggressive, but say
my Cash App too. Why are you doing it?
I'll play. Bless his Cash App and mine. It'll all be in the show.
No one gives me money. I always send money.
No, for real. Mine is all negative response. I'll put your contact in the show notes. If you want to send me your Cash App, it can't hurt. Y'all can send something. I feel like a panhandler.
No, my birthday just passed. It works.
When was your birthday?
February 26th.
You're an Aquarius?
Pisces.
Okay. I'm a Pisces moon.
Okay.
I'm all water.
Okay.
Anyway, nobody asked.
Is it moon is how people see you? Or?
No, that's who you are by yourself. But it's a lot of stuff to it.
Oh, that's where the rapper hands come from. Okay.
In the imagination. inside, I'm L Dog. But we don't. But my moon is L Dog.
You are hilarious.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Again, I ask that you subscribe to the You Plus Happy YouTube channel. If you don't do anything else, just please subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. Tell everybody to subscribe. And I really appreciate it. And you can follow the show on Instagram at You Plus Happy. And I ask the guests to say the tagline is long, but it is, we'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say it one more time. I was being sassy.
Wait, I'm gonna give him this. We'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours.
We'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours.
Yay, we did it!
We did it. And next time, I'm interviewing the stuffed animal to see their story.
They got a lot to say. Don't.